All right, so I'm doing a little update on Sean's car. Just a little updated video. I got the chassis behind me, the whole top half dropped through the floor, I'm welding all the tops on it, and I'll turn the camera around and show you what I got going on from there. And as you can see, the whole driver compartment's almost finished. Welding, I dropped the chassis through the floor to make sure everything's 100% welded on the top. I do this with every cage, anything from, you know, a 10-point and larger of a cage. You can see that everything will be 100%. And then if you look at these bars, this one's low, this one's high. So what I do is I do an offset plane. I like to get this front bar of the driver halo as high as I can in the car. Reason being, when you put the seat in, everything's good. You get it as far away from the driver's head as you can, so when they get out of the car, their helmet's not getting stuck on it. If they require any padding, it doesn't create an issue. So I do a dual reverse offset. So I offset this close to one side, and I offset this close to the opposite side. And then when you look in the car, between the X and everything, it's all on the same plane. So it's nice and flat. I make sure everything's flat, nothing's, you know, off level, nothing looks wonky, nothing looks shitty. So I'll get this welded up and I'll drop it back up in the car, and I'll show you guys the next step that I'm going to do to this as soon as I get there. All right, so I'm on to my next step. Well, I'm a little farther on than my next step. So I got caught up doing a bunch of work in here, moving along on this car. You know, when I'm working, I don't think about filming a lot. I just think about getting things done. So I had a bunch of other work come through the shop on top of working on this car. But I got pretty good progress made on it. I got a bunch of the floor bars out of the car so I can get my body up and weld some things. And I got most of the back half structure put in the car. There's, I don't know, probably a handful of bars left to go in there between the little supporting cross gussets and the shock mounts and a couple other things. But I'm going to turn this around in a second to show you guys what I have going on. I just finished up today putting one of Hammer's housings in this car. Hammer Concept and Design. If you haven't seen him on Facebook or anything, check the guy out. The guy does phenomenal work. I gave him my measurements and everything came in spot on the money where I wanted it. Everything is dead nuts. So I'll flip this around and show you guys what I got going on right now. All right, so last time I showed this view, it was earlier in the video, but in my time frame, it was a little while ago. But everything from the driver halo back, everything in the ceiling, all that stuff is all welded. It's in. I didn't weld the floor X in just in case I had to remove it to get my body up through to weld anything. But the next step is finishing the back half, getting the rest of the bars in, getting the floor bars back in, finish all that. Everything's solid welded. Get the door X's in, and then I'll be starting the double framer. I haven't decided whether I want to put the X bars in totally yet. Sometimes I leave them out. Sometimes I weld them in. It just depends on how bad I feel like hurt my body that week. But all the torque boxes are tied in, the uppers are tied in, the lowers are tied in, and everything is looking good. I got some of the diagonal supports in here welded in, so there's no flex in the frame rails. And I still have a bar that's going to go from this pocket here of tubing down to about where the shoulder back brace is here. And that'll be on both sides. And after that's welded in, then I'll get these ladders. There's going to be another set of ladders that go down these tubes here. But I want to make sure that I have the shock crossbar in first so it all flows. I like everything flowing so it doesn't look like, there's a bar placed out here and then the diagonal crosses over the top of that bar. It would look like shit. So I just kind of want it to flow real nice. And then after all that's done, these will get trimmed back, capped. That'll get a big X in it here, so there's no side-to-side sway. It keeps it all nice and locked in. And then we'll get the anti-roll bar mounts in back here, and we're probably going to use a Racecraft vertical mount anti-roll bar, one of their big boy. I think it's a 2-inch crossbar on that anti-roll bar. So that's he should never have an issue bending that. But my God. Look at this dirty girl. That thing is sweet. So if you're in the market for a Fab 9, Hammer B is the guy to see. Like no joke. You want to look him up? It's Hammer B Ham on Facebook. If you don't know who he is, this guy does some phenomenal work. And like I said, I gave my measurements and this thing came in spot on. I've had issues in the past where I ordered a housing with specific measurements for a customer, and I ended up having to cut it up anyway. I thought I was going to be saving time, but I wasn't, and I had to trim the axle ends, and thank God he didn't order the wheel offset that we intended on for the car. We were able to change that because of the axle being all wonky, but this thing is spot on where I want it, and everything works perfect with the lower torque boxes. As you can see, everything is straight in. Oh, my bad. Everything is straight in line here. So we'll probably end up putting a wishbone on this. He's got a 3-position wishbone mount on the bottom of the housing, and that'll tie up into the number 1 bar up here most likely. And when that's all finished up and the back half's all final, then we're going to be moving up to the double frame rail up in the front half there. And what I'll do is I'll end up, like I said, removing this center bar here, and then that'll get capped. The frame rails will go up, and they'll tie into the frame rails in the front, and then the double frame rail bars will go from this crossbar forward, and they'll tie in the mid plate and all that stuff. And then I'll do the tube front all through here. I'll cut all this stuff up, clean it up, trim it real nice. This inner apron here where the line lock's mounted, that'll get cut out, and then it'll all just get tubed and everything, and then we'll just have the stock sheet metal for the strut tower there. But the whole front end is going to be all racecraft goodies. We're going to use the 2 front extended with the strange stiletto style rack in the front and the drop spindles. So it's going to be a pretty high class front end up there. And then I'll adapt the tube front end to all that and make that all structural and real nice. And he'll be able to, it's going to be nice with that front end. He'll be able to drop his oil pan out without having to take the K-member out or pull the motor or raise it up or anything. But man, this thing is, car's coming along great. It's moving now. So we also had dilemma with waiting on parts. So thankfully parts are starting to come in. There's a shortage of chromoly right now, and it was a little rough. I needed all my 1 1/4 inch, and that stuff was just not moving. I had all my other tubing, but unfortunately I ran low on some chromoly. But now everything's back in stock, and we're going to get cracking on this. But I really appreciate you guys checking all this out. If you want to see more videos, comment, like, and subscribe. I really appreciate everybody's comments on the last videos and the feedback on everything. You know, it's a lot for me to do all this and try to video all at the same time. I know these are short, but when I'm working, I don't really think about taking videos. I think about just trying to get stuff done, like I said. But like I said, thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate everything, and I hope you're looking forward to the next video. See you.